Sup everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. Firstly, I want to talk about Rite 9, mainly this. There is going to be 3 different modes for it. The main mode I want to talk about is primarily the contest mode, and how to kind of prepare if you're not going to rush. If you're going to rush in there and just go, by all means, just do what you want. This isn't the best video for you, but if you still want some advice on weapon tree and kind of what to use for encounters, feel free to stick by. Otherwise, let's get into it. The main concepts I want to talk here are weapons and builds. The strategy can be debated on for a later time due to the fact that we don't know if there are going to be timers or if they're going to change anything up in these dungeons. Well, the main thing you should know is that everything's going to be harder. So what we think could work now may not work due to buffs actually coming in and some nerfs. So something like Lord of Wolves, which in my opinion could have been used for 2 or 3 of these bosses, is going to get nerfed. We don't know if it's going to be viable or not. Again, this is set up to help you through the 3 dungeons in here, which are going to be Spire of the Watcher, Prophecy, and Ghost of the Deep. Otherwise, I hope this video helps. Consider liking and subscribing if it does. Otherwise, let's get into it. In terms of team composition and builds, I'm just going to have on screen what I recommend you use. Obviously, the subclasses and classes with one of the builds or 2 of the builds that I would personally be using myself. But I still want to break down some of it. If you're going to be on a Arc Titan or a Prismatic Titan, that is the best for Titans overall. If you're going to main a Warlock, I would say Prismatic and Solar. Arc, if you're going to have 2 Warlocks in your team, personally, it's not something I would recommend. Otherwise, the third one for Hunter is just really Void, Arc, or Prismatic. Arc if you want a bit of damage or add clear with something like a Liar's build. Otherwise, you have Prismatic Gifted Conviction, which hits pretty hard. Overall, Void is just a safety net if you're on Hunter. I want to put this out there while I'm here. The best team compositions, in my opinion, are going to be 2 Titans and a Warlock. Otherwise, 1 Warlock, Hunter, and Titan is still a viable composition, as you have a lot more kind of balance, in my opinion. 2 Titans, it just varies on how both of them play. And again, Warlock, just dump them on speaker site, and then you just purely got someone to heal you continuously. Can't really whinge on that. Otherwise, weapons that I would highly recommend bringing in for now. If you were talking about legendaries, not talking about exotics, I would say bring the support auto rifle frame, as well as anything in the area denial frame and rocket sidearm frame. These 3 are going to be heroes. When I say it, if you're using double special on a Titan build, well, sidearm and velocity baton, for example, or anything along that line, is just going to do the work for you. If you're using a Warlock, if you're using a solo build, having a support frame is going to benefit you with all your uptime, especially if you're using something like Benevolence. This is just something I want to throw in there because a lot of people aren't going to go into detail on these. Again, I don't want to make this video long. I want to also put in 4 exotics that I would recommend for damage. Currently, if you're going to go on a rocket DPS phase, have someone on obviously Galahorn. I would recommend someone bring Divinity, as well as have Icebreaker, Queensbreaker. Bring a lot of Wolves and test it if you're rushing through it. Otherwise, Legend of Acreus is still going to do quite well here. If you're not going to go and use a div, I would say to your Warlock, instead of obviously just Rocket Sidearm in the heavy or something, primary, have Arbalisk. Arbalisk is still viable. I think a lot of people underestimate it, but Arbalisk does hit pretty well, especially in Ghost of the Deep. That will be a very good option to break shields faster. For the strategy, like, this is just what I want to bring in. On the screen again, it's just going to have everything so you guys are aware. My main systems that I'm going to put in. If we're doing anything in terms of range, Queensbreaker is going to be your best friend. If you're doing anything in terms of close proximity, Wolves and Acreus are going to be your best friend. Ghost of the Deep is a hit or miss dungeon in my opinion with the shields on the bosses, so Arbalisk is a team call, as well as something like Divinity for the final encounter. And this is just something I want to chuck in there. A lot of people may not use Divinity, and I can see why. I personally am not really a fan of wanting to use it myself, but I thought I would just say it because people will maybe use it. Tractor Cannon is something I didn't mention in the previous area of this video, but that will still be viable for a lot of areas of this, especially in endgame scenario where a free debuff and something that suppresses targets does help out a lot, especially if your team is just doing close range proximity sort of damage. Again, you can just hot swap from obviously that to a slug shotgun or a fusion rifle, depending on whatever composition that you're using or character. Again, this is just something that I'm throwing out there for people to try. Otherwise, as we see here, in my opinion, if you're going to use anything close, these are the two bosses that I would recommend. Prophecy is its first boss, which is technically the first encounter, and the first boss of Ghost of the Deep, which is its second encounter. These bosses are pretty much anything that is a shotgun related range, fucking use it. They are your best friends in this situation. Prophecy is one you can also kind of use a bit of range if you don't want to be up close and personal, but it's just however you play. If you were doing obviously anything with range, as I said before, Queens. But again, third encounter of Ghost of the Deep, again, final boss, I would recommend Queensbreaker. Second encounter, aka first boss of Spire, I would recommend having a sniper or, again, Queensbreaker, as it's just better for that boss. And the final one I really would recommend this for is Prophecy. I know some people may say, well, Prophecy's boss, you got to keep moving forward, so you're better off with something else. I still feel that a lot of people got to keep their distance, and it's still going to hit the damage in no matter what. So again, that boss does teleport backwards, and it will help. So again, that's final encounter, and that's the final boss, obviously. For Spire, this is something that I've been debating on mentally. Rockets, if you have like a Tractor Cannon, it still works. Hit or miss, but I'm just gonna say it. Divinity probably works a bit more smoother. If you wanted to use GLs or rockets, I would recommend that sort of strategy. Otherwise, debuffing or particle would be your best friend in that area. Again, GLs, rockets, and a debuff would probably work best. If you're going to use Queensbreaker, have a fucking div. No matter what, you need that crit. Otherwise, the damage ain't going to be there. Otherwise, you can use Lord of Wolves on him, but I do not recommend it because he'll probably fucking melt your health while you're that close. Again, this is just something I wanted to chuck out there before, obviously, you run in. If you are going to hold off, I should also add there are going to be a ton of people obviously doing carries and Sherpas for this over on Twitch. So if you do need help with a lot of these dungeons, go find someone over there, as they will be doing it. Till then, again, I hope this video does help people, and yeah, consider liking and subscribing. All the support does help the channel.